This is Kevin, the Entrepreneur. This is a live stream event for those of you who might be tuning in after the fact. I apologize for any noise in the background. I have a noisy roommate, and it's just one of those things that happens. So he's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing. But this is gonna be kind of a chill live stream. I will open it with a thought I've had recently, and then of course I will interact with anyone watching. So again, for those of you who are watching this after the live stream fact, that is why this video is probably going to be an hour or so long. I don't know how long it's going to be right now, but um so I guess to start before we get into the Q&A part of this is I'm wondering something. And this comes from the California Supreme Court ruling a few days ago, where the California Supreme Court basically decided that we as drivers are employees, not independent contractors. Now, it should be noted a couple things. First of all, um, they can still appeal this. Secondly, if Uber changes certain way things that they do, certain way that they run things, we can still fall under the independent contractor status, but they would have to treat us differently, which I basically don't see Uber wanting to change unless want to. Oh, I'm sorry, that was my mom texting me. Unless they can benefit from it. So to make the changes to keep us independent contractors would benefit us more, them less. So um, that that's where we stand. But here's what I was wondering. I'm wondering if we're at the point where people, the drivers, that is, don't care as much anymore because real change is coming. The government is finally starting to regulate, and Uber's mistakes are starting to catch up. My question is, do the drivers even care anymore? And I ask this admittingly a little narcissistically because when I made the video about the Supreme Court ruling, that video 7 months ago would have probably gotten 10,000 views. Instead, it got about 3,000. It's still getting a little views, but it's not it was not the views that I expected it to get. And keep in mind, I'm not making this video to complain about my views. Ultimately, my views are still good, my channel's still healthy. That's not the issue. My I'm just thinking because I know how my videos work. I know how they're viewed, I know how they're shared. Some definitely do better than others, and an announcement like this in the past would have definitely got people at the very least debating very rigorously in the comments. And yet, in the comments, I didn't read a lot of debate. I read a lot of oh wells, and I read, well, that's Uber for you. Score one for the taxi industry. So my question is, are the drivers at the point where change is coming and yet they don't care? Or are they just so used to being screwed over? I see Kevin Joseph says drivers are used to being screwed over. Uh, Frank Alfranco said the ruling was not on Uber. Yeah, it was. It was actually on rideshare in general, but you know, uh, to each his own, I guess. So, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just something I was thinking about because you know, us the poor drivers. The drivers got screwed so many times over the years, and we never had to get to this point. Like we never needed the Supreme Court to step in. It was always avoidable, and yet, um, that. So let's see here. Josu Galen said the ruling won't do nothing. Uber will buy themselves out of it. Well, you can't buy yourself out of breaking the law. You just can't. Um, so let's see here. C4400 says Uber drivers are so done or so used to being I to or being so obsequious to customers they'll bend over to Uber. Lipstick on a pig, they're no different. Um, And Romeo said that included Uber Eats. So, oh, Uber Eats was included in the ruling. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I just kind of get this sense that, um, yes, Namely, this is live. I'm just, it's like here. Francisco said no one will drive if they are employees. I actually think this is true. Um, let's see here. Bobby says, you guys got to get over Uber. It's a bad job. It had its day. Well, that's a frustrating thing. It used to be a good job, and I think we would have liked it to have returned to a good job. The fact that it hasn't, and the fact that now we have this ruling that's going to strongly affect it, well, yeah, that's a problem. AW says, as a driver myself, I don't think this will make any changes anytime soon, and drivers are just burnt out. Yeah, the drivers are probably burnt out. I mean, heck, some of us YouTubers even got a little burnt out reporting on Uber because how much can you honestly complain? I mean, I like making videos, I like doing the news, so that's why I continue to do what I do, but it's I kind of feel like a record sometimes like, well, I'm doing this thing over and over again, reporting on this dumb dumb story that needs to keep being told, so it's just I think back 3 years ago, like the drivers are paid well, Uber made money, passengers loved it. Why did they have to mess with such a good thing? I just don't understand it. Why did they have to mess with such a good thing? Let's hear. Justin said, actually, oh wow, thank you, Doug. Thank you, Doug. If you have a question, I will definitely answer it. Justin Lee said, actually, I'm not making too much on Lyft. Too many expenses, not really worth it. A lot of people feel that way. Jo- Let's see here. Josu said, trust me, they will make something to change it. They will make something the way drivers won't be employees. They will lobby themselves out of it. Trust me. Well, again, a Supreme Court ruling. Not the Supreme Court, but a Supreme Court ruling. You can't lobby yourself out of that one. You just can't. Now, again, I stated before, Uber can make changes, but will they make the changes that they need to make that will be, beneficial to everyone? Let's see here. Romeo said, good things will change soon. Sticky Wicket said, many drivers have the if it doesn't happen in my market state, it doesn't affect me attitude. That's why they roll changes out slowly versus all at once. That is true. That's why Uber has typically done that. They roll out the changes slow. And by the way, it should be noted, this only affects California so far. And it's going to be interesting to see what Uber does because they have shown that they are not afraid to leave a very lucrative market to prove a point. But can they leave California? Heck, they're headquartered in San Francisco. So let's hear. Namli said Uber should do what Juno does. Give driver a choice on being independent contractor or employee. Yeah, but Juno is only in New York, so it doesn't really help anyone. Miguel Tor says, by the time any change does come, we'll be gone. It'll be a whole new generation of drivers. That's true. Is that for California only? Doug asks. Yes, it is. Francisco says, then Uber will be responsible for overhead costs. Yes, that was one of the things that was brought up. But here's the thing, when Uber was paying us well, overhead cost didn't mean much because you were making $2, $3 an hour. You could make 50 to 70 bucks in a few hours. I was doing it. It was great. So the overhead cost I didn't mind paying. But once I had to start working like 10 hours to get that same money, well, that meant a huge car repair could ground me. And it could ground a lot of people. And so then maybe Uber should have been helping out with the overhead, but they wouldn't. Let's see here. Bobby said, I think making 65 cents a mile is slavery. In a way it is. I don't know if I want to call it slavery the way we think about it, but the whole idea of lowering the rates, aside from being able to try to put Lyft out of business, was that if you lowered the rates, drivers would have to drive more to get the same amount of money, and that was the whole thing. They didn't want drivers driving 3 to 5 hours a day. They wanted them driving 8 to 12 hours a day. And so by lowering the rates, you ensured a lot of people who did this full time had to drive more to make that same money. So yeah, kind of is slavery. Um, let's see here. Robert McDonald said, the way CA goes, so does the rest of the country eventually. Sometimes. Sometimes. California is a very unfriendly state to businesses. Thankfully, a lot of states are. So, all right. So, did anyone get the Lyft update where you have to agree not to sue them and handle everything through an arbitrator? I drive in Los Angeles. Yes. All right. I did get that. And by the way, that is being challenged in court right now. There is new legislation in California. Again, California. So narcissistic. My state changes everything the way Uber and rideshare works. Where they are actually considering making it illegal to make arbitration for part of agreements to work for people. In fact, I wouldn't be too surprised if arbitration fell out of favor with the courts in the next 5 years because it really is a scuzzy thing and it's very shady and yeah, and honestly, it's kind of a strange thing, arbitration, because not only is it very shady and we allow it to happen, but it's not used as much as you think it would be, considering how much it really protects the company's behinds. Let's see here. All right. Kevin Joseph said Uber baited and switched drivers, and now drivers are stuck with high car payments. A lot of them did. Nam Lee says waivers have no value in court. Well, they have some value in court, but they're having less value in court as courts challenge them more and more. Kevin Joseph says, I'm moving to Cali. Well, welcome. Get ready to pay way too much for housing. Let's see here. Let's see here. It's like Frank L. Franco said the California Supreme Court decided unanimously Monday that Dynamics miss. Okay, look, just so that we can put this myth behind us. Supreme Court. Yes, and for the record, while it might have been directed at Dynamex, look right there. It's for gig workers. It affects Uber as well. If you think it doesn't, you're a fool. Just saying. So, DK, if they challenge the ruling, they risk going up the federal chain of appeals, and that could put the entire U.S. market at risk. And that is a good point. Does Uber and Lyft and any of these other gig economy companies want to take that chance? You don't know how the Supreme Court's going to rule. On one hand, yeah, there is a conservative slant, and conservatives are definitely more in favor of gig economy, but the gig economy is also very unstable, and if gig economy makes business unstable, then those same conservative judges might speak very unfavorably on the gig economy, and once it loses the Supreme Court, that's it. So right now, I think the worst case scenario is Uber and Lyft might be looking at getting out of California for the time being. Let's see here. Romeo, which is worse, working at Walmart or Uber? I don't know. I don't know, to be perfectly honest. That's just let's see here. Let's see here. C4400 says you should always have the right to sue to protect your rights in court. Yes, you should. Um, Namely says I drive in San Francisco and that mark is about $1 per mile. $1 per mile is more of a livable wage. Not in San Francisco, buddy. Not in San Francisco. I mean, you might have a very good, cheap place to live, but like my brother lives in San Francisco. He bought a little house there for like $1 million. It's smaller than this house. It's like San Francisco's just outrageously priced. Hi, Lauren. Um, Francisco says, will we ultimately be limited to which apps we can work? I do not know. I frankly do not know. Um, okay, Uber driver Todd. I think I figured you out. You are pretty much a troll. I'm just gonna ignore. Interesting. I used to. Aha. Let's see here. So, and we will remove Uber driver Todd from this chat. So, let's see here. Hey Marcus, how you doing? Into Solutions responds that Walmart is worse to work at than Uber. You know, on the mere basis that you can choose your own schedule, that's probably true. Liz says, I work for both, no difference. Robert says, working at Walmart, you're guaranteed minimum wage. Joshu says, working for Walmart for sure. So, Francisco says, Kevin has a girl. Yes, I do. Unfortunately, she's very sick today. So, poor girl. She had to go to bed early. So, DK says, at least at Walmart, you can get an employee discount. Oh, yeah. Why don't Uber drivers get driver discounts? The Brazil show says, make as much as you can in the next 30 days. You may not have an Uber Lyft gig after that. And Frank says, Phoenix is 71 cents a mile. So, yep. Lauren H says, have you seen the Kid Drive app? No, I haven't. I actually do not know what that is. Silicon Valley is $1.01 per mile. Oh, yeah. One of the Silicon Valley is a place where a burnt down house sells for almost $800,000. They can clearly pay more than $1 a mile. Let's see here. Chip is driving too said, is Uber for sure lowering rates? Are we speculating if they did? I can't imagine Uber charging less. I never claimed that Uber was lowering the rates. That's not what this conversation was ever going to be about. This was about the Supreme Court ruling and whether or not drivers even cared anymore. So, as you guys can probably tell, I'm a little behind. But Miguel says, I'm at the point I'm booking an interview with Domino's. Ooh, Domino's. Not my favorite pizza. I prefer Papa John's myself, but I like it. Bruce Platillo said $1 million buys you a mansion here in North Texas. Yeah. No, actually, I was looking at Virginia, found a house for $500,000. It was like 2 stories and 8 bedrooms. It was like, whoa. Like, geez, I'm doing something wrong. So, let's see. Let's see here. Boy, the how interest. Sorry, guys. I'm just. Well, whatever. Anyway, let's see here. Uni Media Mobile. Any idea when the new driver app is going to be available? Frankly, I do not care. It will not help us, so it can take as long as it wants. Kevin Joseph, we should be paid taxi rates. We're traceable, must maintain high rating, and faster than prearranged cars. Well, we should be paid close to taxi rates. Um, let's see here. Let's see here. MS Silverhammer, Kevin, you should order your Uber and Lyft employee driver uniforms now and beat the rush. No, I'm sure that if I have to be an employee, they will have to provide them. Let's see here. T. James said raising our permanent rate is the answer. Yes, I've actually been advocating that for a little while now, where it's like, yeah, yeah. I mean, if you were making 40 cents a mile, then yeah, that's almost $20 an hour, so we'd be fine. Let's see here. Rideshare Professor is Uber's Employee of the Year. Maybe. Bruce says Papa John's rules. Justin Lee said, what is the fair cost per mile? Everyone's opinion. I think $1.75 per mile, 40 cents per minute. That's Lauren said, my son made $300 a day at Domino's, but he is fast. And you get a lot of tips at Domino's. Let's see here. Robert says 1.4 million can get you an 8-bed mansion in North Mesa, Arizona. Melissa Keith said, I was super bummed when I saw Lyft's agreement today when I turned the app on. Seems like they really do follow his lead on many things. Oh, pretty much everything. That's why Uber effectively has no competition, because the competition that they have apes them and just does the same thing. So Uber doesn't even try to outdo them anymore, because whatever they do, Lyft will do. Let's see here. Two Brams. Kevin, care to speculate on the future of Uber? Will drivers get fed up enough or organized to fight back? We've started to see them organize a little bit. We've started to see them fight back a little bit. Why do you think the government is so involved right now? That's because drivers started getting more involved. And we see them quitting pretty frequently, to be honest. So, yeah, the drivers are fighting back. Bruce says, hope you both feel better soon. Well, I'm feeling better for the record. In fact, a little bit of an update on the health before we continue with the chat. Is that I have changed my diet so drastically that the medication was actually doing more harm than good. Thus, it has been reduced. So, I was supposed to be going up to 4 metformins by tomorrow. Instead, I will be taking 1 for the foreseeable future, and that is already progress because metformin is a nasty little drug. They prescribed it to me hearing what my eating habits were like before I got diagnosed and assumed I wouldn't change, as they always do. And I have started to change, and I have been exercising. I've even lost a few pounds. It's not very obvious yet, but I have lost a few pounds, and I'm actually, you can't see it, but I'm starting to get a little muscle up here. So I am changing for the better, and within a year, we're going to have these diabetes reversed. So at least that's the goal. Okay, Lionel Hamilton said, is it true we are no longer independent contractors? How long would we have and what would happen to us? I believe they have 30 days to comply with that. But yes, this ruling, unless Uber changes some things, California drivers should be employees within the 30 days. Let's see here. Okay. If I was an Uber employee, I'd be fired into... Let's see here. I'm looking into getting CHD oil distribution. Huh, not bad. Bruce said, Amazon is going to buy Uber and Walmart is going to buy Lyft. Well, wouldn't that be a hoot? If you can only drive for one platform, which would you drive for, Uber or Lyft? I'd say Lyft because you get more tips, but really that's the only advantage it has right now. If Uber and Lyft go out, we just go join taxi company. There's always a door open once the other door closed. Yes, that's true. Tuan Nguyen. That's Nguyen. Tuan Nguyen. I think that's how I pronounce it. Sorry if it's not, but yeah, that's true. TJ James said, do any of you make fast food runs for people when they ask not to come along? I tend to reject fast food orders unless it's KFC, because KFC tends to be more than $20 when you pick it up, and you can get good tips on that. Let's see here. In the Uber groups I'm on in Facebook, other drivers try to shut you down when you complain about what Uber does. Well, I think it's because a lot of people just don't like to hear complaining, to be honest. People tip on these, keep the change. Wondering if Didi will make it to the USA soon. Any thoughts? I think Didi will eventually come to the United States. MS Silverhammer says, Kevin, when all rideshare drivers and CA become employees, I will allow you to couch surf in my condo near South Beach. Maybe you will do better driving here as Florida drivers will stay independent. Thanks. Wow, we have for a brief moment, we had 100 people watching this live stream. I can't believe it. Let's see here. C440 said, I fired myself from Uber. Yep. DK, hope NYC protests start a national trend. Well, New Yorkers are very resilient. They are the ones who start the protests, them and Berkeley people. I'm frankly surprised no Uber drivers are protesting in Berkeley. You would think they would care about these things. Let's see here. Joshu Gallin said, well, it's time to find a real job, LOL. Not for real. I mean, that changes won't happen. You can't make money with it trying something different. Doing something over and over again without results is... Yeah, I agree. Robert said, I can't take metformin. It makes me sick. Oh, yeah, God. I was feeling so sick for the last few days. It's just, Uberman Todd, I actually can read what you typed. I'm just ignoring you. Because you're a jerk. So, diabetes so far sucks. Like, let me... I guess I'm just going to share, like, a fun little story. Because I pay my rent on time, the landlord likes to do, little things for me. And he got me these. And I love Lay's stacks. And yet, I can't eat it. I've had this for a couple days, and just to keep you guys, see, they're sealed, so I haven't been eating them. Just to, wow, that's pretty hard to. And while my diabetes is not the worst it could be, especially compared to other people, it is annoying because I would love to just snack and stuff without consequences. I would love to redeem this free fruit and yogurt parfait at McDonald's. But I just can't. I can't. I have to watch what I eat now. And I got Papa John's for the first time in 3 weeks on Tuesday. And I had to make it thin crust. It still tastes pretty good, to be honest. But, you have to make those changes, and it kind of stinks. So let's see here. Let's see here. Liz says, how does this employee ruling impact the rest of the states? Do you think they will follow? Not all of them, but some will. I think New York, Florida, and Washington, D.C. are the next obvious ones that would follow, but I just don't know. Cloudy Boy said, I literally just searched up live and ended up here. Well, welcome. Lauren said, oh, you're from Berkeley. Well, why aren't any of you guys protesting? Isn't that what people from Berkeley do? Hey, your driver Mike. How you doing? By the way, just to let you guys know, now that he's here, we will be doing another podcast, and the next podcast will have everyone other than me. So, it's like, Frank says, I don't understand why you think a ruling against Dynamex will affect Uber. It might. Well, Frank, I'm not the only one who says that. CNN says that. NBC says that. Legal experts say that. I mean, are they all wrong? Are they all wrong? I mean, yeah, we gave Carrot Top a movie, but I still think, on a whole, society tends to be a little bit smarter than that. So, let's see here. C4400 said, isn't it funny how the liberals and hipsters are out on the streets for hashtag fight for 15, but when it comes to paying themselves, it's a big middle finger. Well, that is what people do, to be frank. That's not just liberals, that's conservatives. We say we think people should be treated this way. We want them to be treated this way. Things need to be different. But when it comes time to, okay, things can be different, but you have to pay a little more, nothing. So let's see here. Cloudy Boy says, my dad has diabetes. Yeah, mine does too. In fact, there's some suspicion that it's probably because of him that I have it, because it's a little hereditary. But again, I can reverse it, and I'm going to reverse it. This is a temporary thing for me. Hey, Newman2772 and GTO Poker says, research studies have shown berberine is just effective as metformin without the side effects. I'm glad that YouTube saves these chat logs, because I am going to be checking that out. See you later, T. James. Tuan Nguyen said, Kevin, watch Dr. Berg on YouTube. He will show you how to reverse diabetes. Don't snake, that will make it worse. Well, I've heard a few people recommend Dr. Berg, so I'm probably going to have to look him up just to see. Newman said, my mother is diabetic for 11 years. Yeah, it can be tough. Driver631 said, would you ever drive for Uber, Lyft, DoorDash again? Yes, if they paid better. Let's see here. Brian B said, find something that gives you joy instead of food. Yeah. Well, I was making food my number one joy. That is going to change. It has to change, because I just have to do it. Another intro into solutions. Dr. John Bergman is very good. Jasu Gallin says, I hope doesn't affect Nevada. Las Vegas is a great market. Strip clubs and dispensaries pay you for bringing people to them. That's awfully, awfully nice. Not a lot of places can say that. Let's see here. Part-time driver says rates are going up. In some areas they are. And I haven't quite figured it out, but some areas are getting a rate increase. Meanwhile, some areas are not getting a rate increase, but Uber is raising the booking fee. So there you go. Let's see here. Let's see here. Uh, let's see here. Namely, Kevin got zero disliked. This never happened before. It has. Not often, but it has. Thomas Cass, have you seen the new Roseanne show? She drives for Uber. Yes, I've seen the new Roseanne show. I actually like the new Roseanne show. Also, just to show you, let me find this, but well, kind of having a hard time closing it. But yeah, I'm a Roseanne fan. I That's actually one of my favorite sitcoms, to be honest. Let's see here. MS Silverhammer said, I think this ruling will now be appealed to the federal courts and there will be a stay issued. Well, yes, that could be the next thing. But as we talked about earlier, there is a danger there. There is a huge danger because if the Supreme Court ruling doesn't work out, then it's not just California, it's nationwide, and we want to see how much Uber wants to mess with that. Um, Larry L. says, don't be surprised if the California legislature creates a new form of employment that puts the gig economy workers in them. We will continue to be 1099 independent contractors. That's possible. That is pretty that is possible. Aaron J said Uber can't pay everyone as employees. Wouldn't this just improve driving? They could just make changes to allow us more freedom as subcontractors. Might this be a good thing? Well, Aaron, yes, I agree. It could be a good thing. I mean, the things that the Supreme Court, the California Supreme Court, wanted them to change, we would benefit greatly from. Will Uber actually do it? That's the other question because I think Uber likes having a certain amount of control. Trust me, when they say we do these things for you guys and we listen and we don't do certain things because you're just not thinking about what is good for you. No, we are. They want to maintain a certain level of control. And it's giving up that control, which is why things have been so difficult for them to change things. So let's see here. Yes, Mike, I will definitely make you a mod. Um, 10:20 p.m. What time is it now? How far behind am I? I'm behind by about 3 minutes on the chat. That's that's all. That is awesome. Well, Mike, don't go anywhere. I will find you at some point. In the meantime, let's see here. Biggest bodybuilder said you look great. Just put on muscle. Well, I'm starting to put on a little bit of muscle. Let's see here. Let's see. Frank says they raised the minimum fare and booking fee, but they said not to worry. It will not affect what drivers earn. And yep, I have some people have found that to be the case. I am sorry to say. Let's see here. Let's see here. Namely said, I am very worried about becoming an Uber employee and so Mike, you are now a moderator. And I don't have to pay you. That's just a joke. Please don't stop being on my podcast. I like you. I like you being there. Well, Namli, to get back to you, yes, we all, I think, wanted to stay independent contractors. You had a few out there who was like, I want benefits, I want time off, I want the overhead to be paid for, but most of us wanted to stay independent contractors so long as we were getting paid fairly. Once we stopped getting paid fairly, all of a sudden unionizing, becoming employees, that didn't sound too bad because we knew whatever we were making, it would be more than minimum wage. So, yeah. MS Silverhammer said, keep in mind, Uber and Lyft may make significant changes and relinquish some control, etc., to satisfy the court that drivers are independent contractors. They might do this. They might surprise me. So the next 30 days is going to be very interesting. And of course, I will report on the news and continue to report on whether or not that new Facebook dating thing is any good. And yeah, let's see here. Let's see here. Part-time driver says ADT has employees, temps, subcontractors, part-time workers. Uber, Lyft can do the same to get around California law. They can, and we'll see. We'll just have to see what they do. Thomas Cass said the very fact that they punish you for rejecting rides means you're not an indie contractor. There's a few things that they do that makes it that we're not independent contractors. They control the rate. We don't have any say in what we make, which independent contractors do. They do not give us the information about what the job will entail. That we need that for independent contractors. I've been harping on it a lot, but like I currently can't drive for Uber because I need to get re-inspected, and my car is wrapped with Wrapify, and Uber won't allow me to have my car wrapped. As an independent contractor, I should be allowed to have that. So there you have it. Yes, I've got two moderators. I've got Dark Road Run and Your Driver Mike moderating. Yeah. Let's see here. Well, Francesco, that's not entirely true. I mean, yeah, you can't get deactivated for rejecting rides, but their algorithm is programmed in such a way that if you reject too many rides, you might not get more favorable ones. Let's see here. Kevin, do you trust me enough to make me? Yeah, sure. Why not? We'll do that. There. But I have a limit of making 2 people mods per live stream, so anyone else will just have to wait till next time. Let's see here. Kevin, what exactly does an employee look like versus now? Well, here's some of the things that can change with the employee. You might be driving Uber-owned cars. You will have a set schedule. You will be getting compensated for, if it's your car, you'll be compensated for wear and tear, gas, etc., etc. Depending on how many hours you work, you might get sick leave, you might get vacation days, and if you work more than 40 hours a week, you get overtime. So these are some of the things that what looking like an employee might look like for Uber now, and that's just the way it is. So obviously, there's a lot about this that sounds good. There's a lot about this that sounds very bad. We're just gonna have to see what happened. Chip is driving too said, what? They won't let your car be wrapped? What happened there? Well, it's in the terms of service. That's how I knew. Let's see here. Lauren says, I did one of those car wrap things. They actually sent me money that I was supposed to forward to somebody else, so I didn't do it because I wasn't going to take their fraudulent check. Interesting. Well, so far, Wrapify has paid me money. They've paid me all the money that they owe me. It's not a lot, but it's something. Now that I'm feeling better, I want to do like a Postmates run to see how much more Wrapify can add to your Postmates run. In theory, this wrap should add more money to Uber and Lyft, and your personal driver, Aaron, apparently has found some big success doing that. But, if you have to have your car inspected and Uber sees it wrapped, they're just going to not pass the inspection. So, let's see here. Let's see here. MS Silverhammer says, we should be able to negotiate our own contracts and see the destination beforehand and not be deactivated for cancellations. I agree. Let's see here. And by the way, Namely says, yay, I feel powerful. So this is how to feel to be Uber. Welcome to the club. Let's see here. The Mod Avengers. Oh, don't talk about the Avengers. I'm so sick of hearing people talk about the Avengers as if it's the greatest movie in the world, and it's not. Let's see here. Oh, hey, I've caught up. Yay. Kevin, what do you think about the movie, Francesca? Okay, quick show of hands. Does anyone want my opinion on Avengers Infinity War just so we can get this over with? I'll give you all like 20 seconds to respond to that one. Let's see here. Namli. Oh, and Namli says, I'm going to double everyone's pay. What is 0 times 2? I think it's 0. Okay, we got one hand, one yes, one meh. DK says, when is the Uber sexual harassment movie slated for release? Oh shoot, the sexual harassment. I forgot to report on that. Okay, I guess I do have a video coming out tomorrow. I was doing this live stream partly because I didn't think there'd be a video tomorrow. I didn't know what I was going to talk about. So yeah, I'm going to talk about the harassment. So anyway, guys, let's see here. I guess just to start out, and just so that you all are aware, I am a Marvel fan. So, and for the record, I have actually, where is that? I have met Stan the Man Lee a few times. There's an autograph. I have like 7 Stan Lee autographs. So I'm a pretty big Marvel fan. But I am officially getting sick and tired of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Especially, which spoilers, I guess, I'm getting tired of characters dying who I know aren't going to stay dead because they've got contracts for future films. And everything's just going to reverse itself, so... In my... And no, I did not get to Stanley's house like Sheldon. I met him at Comic-Con 3 times, twice at Barnes & Noble, and one time he was at the Disney studio, because I used to be able to go to the Disney studio all the time, because I used to work for Disney. And he was there, and he's like one of the few people, if you're ever at the Disney studio, you can actually ask him for an autograph, and he's the only one that's cool about doing it, by the way. So, yeah, Avengers Infinity War, it's like, I'm realizing the more I think about it, I don't dislike the movie so much as I just dislike the fans at this point. How much this is built up by them. Like, oh, we've been waiting 10 years for this movie. No, you haven't. We've gotten 3 Marvel movies pretty consistently the past 5 years. The last Avengers movie was 3 years ago. Yeah, I haven't been waiting forever for this movie. It's just another movie. So yeah, I guess out of 5 stars, 3. 3 stars. Yeah, 3 out of 5 stars. So there we go. That's my opinion of the Avengers. So you know, if anyone agrees that this Avengers thing got way overhyped and people are taking it way too seriously, send $1. I'm kidding. You don't have to do that. Do you think Uber or Lyft employees are watching you now? Kevin Joseph said yes. They're always watching. In fact, what was it? People at Uber have confirmed that Uber is very well aware of not only my videos, but they're aware of Randy's videos, they're aware of Cecily's videos, they're aware of Mark's videos, they're aware of Mike's videos, they're aware of the Bearded Jerks videos. They're aware of, they're actually aware of Savage Scientists, actually, and Ride with Peterson. They're aware of all of them. But they have an official policy that they don't acknowledge us. So, there you go. Let's see. So, yep, always watching like Santa. See here. Julio says, I'm late to the party. What's the news? Can you do a quick recap? Recap. Uber, Lyft will soon be employees. I'm losing weight, so I can turn the diabetes around. I'm on less medication. And Avengers Infinity War is officially not worth the praise it's been getting. There, you're caught up. And guys, I'm not gonna get into discussing the bearded Uber guy. He's honestly not worth thinking about, to be honest. So anyway, what else is, let's hear, what else is going on? So 44 minutes. I made a prediction at the beginning of the video that this could potentially be an hour long. Can we actually get it to an hour long? We still got 72 people here. There's still a lot to talk about. So anything else you want me to talk about? Okay, here's my biggest slight against the Avengers while I'm waiting for talking. I I'd rather watch. I will gladly watch this a second and third time, but not the Avengers: Infinity War. There. Start typing. Kevin, double our pay. Done. Oh, Peter Rabbit. Actually, I hate to say it, I kind of enjoy it. It's not terrible like you would think it is. Okay, P2 Bram said, any insight into the bizarre surges that have been occurring during midweek? Had 3 hours of solid surge, signed it 5 times. That's actually very easy to explain. There's people who aren't driving. A lot of Uber drivers are quitting. They realize that's the only thing they can do is to quit, to move on. And when you have people who aren't driving, but people who need rides, guess what? The surges. The whole point of Surge is to try to attract people to turn the app on. And that's what's going on. And they used to have push notifications where you could set it like to alert you when the Surge was coming on. I don't know why it does not appear to work for my app anymore, but you know, that's what it used to be. So let's see here. Kevin Joseph, how would you make Uber great again if you had the power? But well, Chris, we're done with the comic book stuff, I'm pretty sure. But let's see here. How would you make Uber great again? Well, I would raise the rates to $1.75 a mile and 40 cents a minute. And let's see here. I would have stricter background checks to ensure that this sexual harassment thing with like the 103 Uber drivers that were accused of sexual harassment doesn't happen again. And let's see here. What else would I do? I would make it so that bad passengers would not only potentially lose their service to Uber, but they would have to pay fees if they have been found to be consistent troublemakers. Those are a few things I would do. Also, I would price the services so that the company would make money. I would get out of the flying car business and maybe double down on Uber Eats, which is actually profitable. I would also start investing in technology and equipment that Uber would own, thus giving the company more value. These are just some of the things I would do. Heck, I would create I would call it Uber Friday. This would be where if you wanted to do your shopping at Walmart or Best Buy, and whether it be Black Friday or something else, people could buy the stuff on Uber. Someone would go, they would buy it. It would obviously cost a little bit of money, but they would have it delivered to you within a couple hours. Or Uber Shop. Maybe Uber Shop is a better name for it. So, I see people are talking about Deadpool 2. I hope Deadpool 2 is good. I hear that they were forced to cut a Disney joke out, though. And people think that Disney buying out Fox is going to be a good thing. If you want an R-rated Deadpool 3, you don't want Disney to buy Fox, guys. How much for an Uber driver to bring me rum? I guess the standard Uber Eats fee. So people have been asking me why Randy doesn't make Uber videos anymore. Guys, you're gonna have to ask him, but I think it's pretty obvious he got burnt out. Uber doesn't take us seriously, and if anyone has a right to feel slighted, it's him. I mean, he did those interviews with Uber employees, and he was brought in and basically used, and they went back on everything said, and I think when he was doing it, there was some hope for him that things would change. And when he realized there would truly be no change, he decided to move on. That's my personal opinion. You'd have to ask him yourself. But he's allowed to do that, and you know what? I kind of agree. It was kind of like, I don't know if anyone's old enough to remember the website Dragon Ball Z Uncensored, but Chris Fazaros, when he made that website, he was making it because he was hoping to influence change on the dub before they got to the Android Saga, because that was his favorite episodes, and he didn't want the editing and the changed music. Well, the Android Saga came and went, so did the Cell Saga, and he realized it was too late to change anything, so he moved on. And I think that's just what happened with Randy. He realized that there's going to be no change, and it's just time to move on. That's what I believe anyway. Kevin Joseph says, would you put a cap on drivers? Maybe not that, because there is a lot of value to having a lot of drivers around. Even I see that. But bad apple drivers, like the ones that get serious concerns and that... No, I wouldn't put a cap. I'll just leave it like that. I'd also rehaul the reporting system because it's too easy, I think, for the drivers to get deactivated sometimes. Julio says, I drive in Dallas, Texas. Do you believe that Uber manipulates the surge? I notice that some areas around Dallas surge, but I know where the surge is showing nothing is there. Any insight? I think there's probably some surge manipulation on Uber's part, but I can't prove it. I've always personally believed that sometimes Uber will turn on the surge, but there's really no surge there just to get people out and about. But I usually believe that when you're like in the middle of like deep red surge and you're just not getting anything, then I am suspicious. Otherwise, I don't know, to be honest. It's like, sadly, during a 7.0x surge, people only take short trips 2 miles for $20. Well, hey, you know what? I'd rather $20 for 2 miles is fine by me. You'd otherwise have to drive 15 miles to get that $20. Let's see here. C4400 says that's what Postmates is for. Yes, but on the other hand, doesn't DoorDash exist? Uber made Uber Eats specifically to compete with DoorDash, so why can't Uber make like Uber Shop to compete with Amazon Flex and Postmates? DK says, I think Uber's board of directors needs to be shaken up. That's a real problem. There's a few real problems. That's one of them, though. Let's see here. Matt Yonda says, please comment on the W-2 employee versus 1099 as an independent contractor. Well, that's pretty simple. You get a W-2 if you're an employee. If you're an independent contractor, you get a 1099. That's really all there is to it. If you want to know how the 1099 works, there's plenty of tax websites that would give you much better advice than I could on that. Let's see here. All right. Hi, Forever Mine. So my arm is tired. I should probably exercise it a little bit more. One thing that's going to be nice about this whole exercising thing is as I start getting some muscle in the arms, maybe it won't be so hard to keep the phone lifted. Okay, we're gonna stop that for a moment. Let's see here. Nomley says very little Uber passengers are crazy enough to call an Uber during high surge. Yeah, exactly. Passengers are not stupid. Well, here's what I'll say. Passengers were a lot more willing to take the high surges when they just put in a multiplier. Now that they're given like an upfront price and they know exactly what they're going to be paying, or at least what they should be paying in theory, because if you do drive longer, they will get charged more. That's why when they hesitate, they know how much their ride usually costs. And if that usual $8 ride becomes $14 one day, they'll just wait it out because they know it's surging. And that's all there is to it. Muscles are a little tense. I can tell I'm forming some muscles here because I've been tense for a few days due to all the weightlifting I've been doing. Let's see here. Kevin Joseph said Uber should get rid of surge and pay all drivers at least $2 a mile, 35 cents a minute. That would also be a good fare, I believe. But here's the thing. I kind of agree that surge is manipulative. I agree that it's not a good thing, but This is the problem. And this is something that could change with the employment, it should be noted. If you have independent contractors who can get on whenever they want, you can't convince them to go out and drive on New Year's Eve. You can't convince them to drive at 2 in the morning. You can't convince them to drive it so many times that Uber really needs you to drive because there's no financial incentive. If you can make the same amount of money driving at 3 p.m. as you could at 2 a.m., you're going to drive 3 p.m. So the surge is there to get us out there. Now, when we're employees and Uber can start scheduling us, then they might not need surge anymore because they can have a certain number of drivers that are supposed to drive those time slots. So, let's see here. Dark Road Run. Gotta say, your health diagnosis inspired me to make changes too, giving up soda. Yeah. Yeah, I've been drinking a lot of these, the sparkling ices. 0 calories with vitamins and antioxidants. There's no sugar, no carbohydrates, no sodium. I'm also drinking a lot of water for the record. So I did have a little bit of Pepsi at dinner tonight. It was like 4 sips of a glass. Not a big deal. It's the first Pepsi I've had since being diagnosed. So, let's see here. Felagar said, remember to stretch on your off days. Too much muscle and too little stretching can literally lead to restricted movement. Yes, I have been stretching. Let's see here. So, good night, Robert. Felagar said, magnesium malate is probably the best form of soreness and neurological issues. Helps my mother's arthritis. Oh, okay. I will keep that in mind. So, guys, we've got about 4 minutes left to the hour. I'm sure we can get to the hour at least. Does anyone have any further questions? I kind of sense we're getting ready to wrap this up, but Into Solutions said, I had a lady break up a ride into 2 parts because of surge instead of one high price. Well, I would not let people do that. Someone tried that once. After I went to one stop, they're like, hey, is it still surging? And I just lied. I said yes. Because I knew what they wanted me to end the ride and get them. It's like, no, I don't play that game. No, you called me on the surge, so there you go. Interestingly, that person got home and said I made like a long trip and Uber docked my pay. And then when I showed them evidence that I did not screw them on the ride, then they reversed it. But some people are just so cheap. Let's see here. MS here. I wonder what your new CA rideshare uniforms will look. MS, like, why are you getting on the uniforms? Like, who cares, really? Like, Kevin Joseph, what serves you like better? And, well, I did have to use a Lyft today. So, whenever given the opportunity, I use Lyft. I know, they're no better, but every bad thing that happens, Uber starts it. So, it's kind of like, you started it, so I don't want to use you. So, that's just the way it is. Let's see here. As a driver. Oh, I answered that a lot earlier. Lyft, if only because you get more tips. So, you know what? If the rates are going to be poor, you might as well go where the tips are going to be. Or the surge. I guess Uber is better for surge and Lyft is better for tips. So, there you go. Let's see here. C4 for unsubstantiated more tips. Well, I can't prove it. I can only say from personal experience, I get more tips on Lyft than Uber. That's all I'm saying. Outsider. Kevin, let's get to it. Do you drive anymore? At the moment, no. I would gladly go back, though, if they paid better, but no. Matt. It's like Matt said, please understand what the state of California is doing. Getting classified as an employee is really bad when you use your own car without an allowance like most other companies do. You cannot write off mileage, car maintenance as a W-2 only as 1099 when you're self-employed. Clevin, please research this. Man, I'm not saying that there are not going to be changes. There will be changes. I am fully aware there are going to be changes that people don't like. Here's what my point has been the entire time. It never needed to get to this point. Had Uber treated us great, had they paid us decently, no one would have been asking to be regulated in the first place. But it got to the point where regulation was the only thing we could do at this point. And so now people are happy. Is there going to be a lot of things that suck about being employees? Absolutely. Abso-friggin-lutely. There will be so many things we do not like about being employees, and I can guarantee you not everyone's going to keep their job. There will be people who will be let go because companies can't afford to have that many employees. And yeah, you can't write off miles and stuff, but you know what? It got so bad, drivers are willing to take a chance. And that's what I'm saying. Drivers were willing to take the chance because they'd been offered so much bad. Honestly, how much worse could it be at this point? So, let's see here. Oh, thanks, Al Sadler. Do you have a question? Kevin Joseph, they turned their backs on us. Yes, they did. They turned their backs on us, and that's why we turned to the government. I am a fairly anti-government person, which is funny considering my political... Actually, no, it's not funny considering my political positions, but I do not like the government regulating too much. I think they should be there just for the bare necessities, and they never seem to do it. They always go overboard. But you know what? Uber got so bad, even I was there at the end going like, you know what? Yeah, they need to regulate Uber. They just need to do it because Uber is the perfect example of just how bad things can get when a company regulates itself and if they are not honest. So, there you go. Oh, you already asked me. No. Yes. As Dark Road Run perfectly said, Uber got greedy. And that's really all there is to it. Uber got greedy. They could have changed this whenever they wanted. They could have made it so it never got to this point. They didn't care. Namely says, I did my calculations. I am normally making $30 an hour and $18 an hour after expenses. And that's not terrible, admittingly. But Francesco said, will Uber pay for gas? I'm under the impression that yes, they would have to. They probably at the very least have to pay for gas. If only because when I was a delivery driver for Roundtable Pizza, they had to pay for my gas, or at least they gave me $1.50 per delivery to cover the gas when gas was $2 a gallon. So, Kevin Joseph, who do you like more, Dara or Travis? I don't like either of them. If you were to ask me which one I think is technically worse, probably Dara. But I honestly think we'd be better off without either of them. I wish that Tom Staggs had remained in the running to run Uber, because you know what? Tom Staggs was like the COO of the Disney company and treated employees well. And I think he not only had the ability to turn Uber around, but he had the personality to do it as well. He worked for a company for so many years, and he understood the value of treating the cast members properly. And I think he would have done some great things at Uber, and that is probably why he ultimately didn't get the job. So, let's see here. Matt said, Uber pay for gas? Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, they have to, that's something that they would probably have to do. Here's the thing. You might not be able to write off miles and stuff anymore, but if you're using your own car, Uber, because you are an employee, would, I think, be a little responsible for like repairs and stuff. So yeah, that would definitely come. It wouldn't be all the gas, of course, but it'd be a decent amount. Kevin Joseph asked, do you think Travis calls the shots behind the scenes? Is Dara figurehead? No, I don't believe that. I just think Dara came on board. The shareholder said, we want you to do this, and Dara's just steering the ship. So, Liz Lohr said, gas prices will be going up a lot this summer because of Trump's Iran issues. Well, there's a lot of reasons the gas prices will go up, not the least of which it's the summer. But yeah, the gas, I honestly think the gas is the only reason we even got somewhat of a price hike in certain states because some areas, like, you can't be having people in California driving for 61 cents a mile while the gas costs $3.20 at Costco. That's just not doable. So, Nice Right says, not that I think Grubhub is the best food delivery platform ever, but shouldn't Uber Eats at least try to follow a company that is publicly listed making money? They are, yeah, they should. They're not, but they should. Um, let's see here. Kevin Joseph said, Uber should take a lesson from Google. Google treats workers like kings and queens. Unless you write a manifesto, then you can get fired for having a different point of view. In all honesty, I have friends who work at Google, and it's not always the rosy environment that Google likes to portray it as. So, let's see here. Matt says, so we would get reimbursed for a business license we had to pay for, yeah? No, because you wouldn't be buying the business license, Uber would be. So there'd be no reimbursement necessary. Al Sadler said, I don't think this employee thing will happen. There are many appeal routes in the federal courts. Well, there is still an option to appeal it, but as we've been speaking earlier, not only is the only one they can really go up to next to Supreme Court, but does Uber want to risk it going to the Supreme Court? Because if the Supreme Court rules that it is law, then it affects the entire nation, not just California. Uber might do well to pull their cards a little bit and change their methods everywhere else to avoid other states from following suit. Let's see here. Francisco said, if we are employees, Uber will lose too much money on our expenses. Well, not if they charge the right price. There's the thing. Uber can charge more money and they'd be successful. Francisco, Uber better pay attention and keep us in. Well, right now, unless Uber makes some changes to how we do our job, California considers us employees. Unless Uber can change things, but that's going to be on them. They can't just say, well, we like to keep them as independent contractors and we're not going to change anything. That is not going to happen. They have to change something to keep us as independent contractors now. Okay, good night, DK. Bearclaw says, employee would only mean Uber provides cars, gas, and everything else. Nice Right said, knowing the exact drop-off address and exact how much the customer tip, if any, before I pick an order is why I'm happy to deliver for Grubhub. I reject all under $9 orders. And you know what? Because Grubhub is a publicly traded company, they know that this is what you need to do to truly have independent contractors, and that's why they do it. So, yeah, it's not surprising at all. Let's see here. Dark Road Run says, maybe we'll finally let us use the bathroom at HQs. Maybe they'll let people go into Uber headquarters. I hear nobody goes in and nobody comes out. Kevin Joseph, what do you think about Pool or Line? Honestly, they both suck. But I, again, am way more likely to use Lyft Line. And this is one way that Lyft is clearly better, because Lyft Line pays you the same as a regular Lyft. Uber Pool pays you less. I know that, yeah, Uber raised some payment for the Uber Pool, but you're still making less than what you would make on an Uber X, and that's just not disputable. Whereas the Lyft Line and the regular Lyft pays exactly the same. It's when you get a second person in the car on Lyft Line is when you start getting screwed, but, you know, whatever. Since I usually use the destination filter anyway, the Lyft Line is rarely a problem. So, let's see here. Moose said, darn, I joined this chat late. Looks like it has been a good chat. It has been a very good chat. People have been doing a little back and forth. We've been going more than an hour. I had over 100 people watching at one point and $10 in super chats, which I appreciate every single one of them because I need to feed my comic book addiction fix. Like I don't have a problem, I'm sure, but needless to say, it's an addiction that every little bit helps. So let's see here. Kevin Joseph said, "What would you think about X versus XL, Prius or Sienna?" I think I don't think you can get on XL with Prius. The Sienna, I don't know what a Sienna is. See, I don't know too many car models, but the XL is usually for bigger cars. So, you know, let's see here. Bert says, no manga? Ah, you want manga? Well, here's the Death Note One and All collection. And, what else do we have here? We have Shaman King and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu Yu Hakusho. And we have Akira down there. So, yeah, I like manga too. I like them both. What do you think is better, X or XL? XL, easily. Let's see here. Oh, thanks, Namlee. I appreciate. Now there's $15 in the super chat. Mahler BT, what's one of the best series of all time in your opinion? Yeah, we just need to donate one more penny to get it to $15. But oh, let's see here. What's some of my favorites? Oh, hold on. Death Note, animated beautifully on. Yeah, I do love Death Note. Some of my other favorites are Meisani Koku. I love that. I love Karakano. I love. I know this one's a little controversial because the author is sort of in trouble with the law, but I love Rurouni Kenshin. I love that series. So I actually met the creator Rurouni Kenshin. I have a signed Rurouni Kenshin book. And I have very mixed feelings about owning it now, to be perfectly honest. So I mean, here's like the question, because like for those of you who are not aware, the Rurouni Kenshin manga artist was discovered to have had like a lot of child pornography in his house fairly recently, and he did avoid some jail time, paid a fairly hefty fine, and he's going back to work. And I mean, I still enjoy the work, but like I said, I have that signed book because I met him several years ago. I think I was 19 when I met him. And I remember it was so cool. I had the signed book because you rarely get manga artists to sign your books. They're just, not only are they in Japan, but even in Japan they're recluses. So, and then I found out he got arrested for child pornography, and now it's kind of like I don't know what to do with that item, to be honest. I see someone said Rumiko Takahashi is awesome. Yes, she is. Okay, let's get this back on rideshare. Al Sadler said, I don't think anyone should buy a car now to drive on Uber until this whole mess. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Don't buy a car now until the mess is settled. Just don't. Moose54321 said, do you think the rideshare apps will model their business like Wing? I believe with Wing, all the drivers must have commercials. I don't know what Wing is, to be honest. I don't. I am aware of, like, I can't tell you more details. I know a lot, but I do know there is a new rideshare app being developed. I even know what it's called, but I can't tell you. And I do know it's going to be different in the sense that you have your own commercial insurance, and like you buy your commercial insurance, and you pay like a monthly fee to drive for the platform. And the rates will be very similar to Uber's and Lyft, but you get to keep 100% of it. Now, when I can talk about that more publicly, I will. Right now, it's still being worked on, and I don't want to ruin anyone's privacy because I want to see it come out first. But there are companies making alternatives to Uber, and the California ruling might just help them. So, Emma Silverhammer said, have you ever given a ride to a celebrity? Yes, I gave a ride to Will Ferrell, actually. and he gave me a $300 tip. And it was a like 5.4 surge and an hour drive, so it was like a 200 something dollar ride. So that was a very good night. That was a very good night. I actually even have the conversation on camera because I have the dash cam, but I'm not revealing that footage because of privacy reasons. Like, I'm not going to do that for any of my other passengers. I'm not going to do it for Will Ferrell. So, plus a video like that might bring me a lot of attention. And while I like growing my subscribers and everything, I don't want the kind of attention that could get me suspended. So I'll keep that one in the pocket just in case. Let's see here. Let's see here. Oh, you meant Wings Pearl. I still don't know what Wings is. I know that we have like a Wings barbecue over here, but I don't think that's what you're talking about. Mahler BT says, keep sending him your videos, but don't think he's watched them. Oh, your brother just got a car driver Uber. Well, you know, the thing is, for some people, this works, and I can't argue that. Liz Lore said, Geico rideshare insurance is $180 a month. Yeah, see, that's too much money. Now, granted, I understand it. I understand it because there's a lot more chances of you being in an accident when you're doing a rideshare. I fully get that, but they do not make enough money to pay that $180 a month. Francesco said, pull up and go. Yeah, I wish that they would expand, but I think they're more or less done. It's not the app I'm talking about, though. That's something else completely. Driver Steve said, I picked up someone last night at George Lucas Estates here in Northern California. Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome. I want to go to Lucasfilm one day. I would really love. I have been to the Disney studios. I've been to Disney Animation. I've been to Pixar. I've been to DreamWorks Animation. I would love to do Lucasfilm. Just love to do Lucasfilm. I don't know how I feel about going to Sony Animation. I mean, they did make the Emoji Movie, but, you know. Let's see here. Driver Steve said, evidently he was a music composer for the new Star Wars movie. I took pictures. Michael Giamacco? Was that his name? Michael Giamacco? I'm pretty sure it's not John Williams you're talking about. Because John Williams is scoring Solo and Episode 9. Michael Giamacco did score Rogue One. Peter something. Okay, I am very, very curious now. So I'm going to look. I am going to Star Wars Solo. It says the music for Solo is by John Powell. So yeah, if you could get the name, that'd be great. Who is your worst passenger? Who is your best passenger? I've actually got videos on that, so you know, that might be fun to look up though. Sean Schultz says, I do Lyft and Uber, but I'm only doing Uber now on. I take it Lyft slighted you somehow. David Smith, when is Lyft going to fix the long pickup fee? You know, I don't know, to be perfectly honest. I thought they would have fixed that by now. Oh, by the way, for Dark Road Run, Rumiko Takahashi. But I wish they would fix that. That's one of the few things Uber does better than Lyft, actually, now that I think about it. Sean asked, what is Uber changing on the app? Nothing, to be perfectly frank. I mean, they're changing something, but it's pretty inconsequential. So let's see here. Moose says, in the new rideshare app world, do you think we will ever be able to set our own rates? I think at some point they will have to, especially after the California ruling. What I would envision it being is, and this is kind of how Sidecar did it when they were around, is everyone starts out at a low rate. But after you do so many rides, you would be allowed to start raising them if you want, and people would have the option to select a better paying driver. And some people will always want just the cheapest they can possibly get. And then other people would not mind paying a little bit more for a better driver. And Actually, Uber could do that real easily. In fact, their badge system could even play into how much you could ask for in the long run. So that would be something I think we will see at some point. So, Kevin Joseph, do you think the Uber commission should be less than 10%? No, to be perfectly honest. 10% sounds fine. Let's see. Your driver seat. I have a cabin-facing camera. I could share his photo, but prefer not publicity. No, I agree with that. I wouldn't do it. I would not do that. You know that you met him, and that's good enough for you. I mean, personal friends. I have shown the Will Ferrell video to if they're personal friends, but I don't feel the need to prove this to a complete stranger. I just don't. So. Let's see here. Mahler BT said, bad idea. If a highly rated driver maintains lower prices, then that kills for everyone else who tries to raise her. No, not necessarily, because I do not believe people when they say, I don't want more money. I just don't. If you are decking out your Uber with lights and great music and video games hidden in the armchair, rests and stuff like that, if you are truly doing this professionally and they say, hey, you've been doing a lot of good rides and you've been getting good badges and comments, you can now charge $2 a mile. I don't think anyone would say, nah, I'm good at 61 cents. No one's going to do that. So that could work still, in my opinion. Like, driver seat, I'm not looking to prove anything, was hoping you could help to identify him. I could... Yeah, I'm trying, but I mean, Peter, that's just, I'm trying to find out, but, I wonder, did he say he was doing the movie or the TV show? Maybe he's doing the TV show. Television, I know there's an upcoming Star Wars show that's premiering in 2018. So, oh yeah, I drove Will Ferrell, Sean. And the new app, I don't know when the new app rolls out, but because it doesn't affect your earnings or really do anything except for changing swipe to tap, yeah, I don't care. I really do not care about the new app. It doesn't mean anything to me. Didn't get to chat with him much because the lady he had with him were talking almost the whole way. Yeah, no, So anyway, when will Uber ambulance release? Yeah, that could get Uber into so much trouble. They're not going to have an official ambulance anytime soon. Kevin Joseph, why do you think people tip taxis over Ubers, especially since we're cheaper and held to a higher standard? Because, for two reasons. First of all, Uber spent years telling people not to tip. Secondly, they hide the tip option. Unless you rate the driver, which a lot of people don't, they don't ask for a tip. So, it's... there's just a lot of reasons they don't tip. Let's see here. Jarcy, they're talking about how great and intelligent Lucas was. Was it Peter McConnell? 2004 Jetta says it might be Peter McConnell. So... Moose says it could be a bid system. Thumbtack is an app that takes 3 bids from contractors and lets you connect with each contractor. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Thomas Nelson says this actually sucks that the lawsuit will be the death of the business as we know it. Unfortunately, there are certain cities that Uber is not viable due to population density and demographics, and also, in my opinion, because of price. But whatever. Let's see here. David Smith said the one thing that's frustrating is driving 25 minutes to get someone and they are going 4 minutes down the road. I think everybody hates that one. Kevin Joseph, if you could go back in time, would you still drive for Uber? Yeah, in fact, I would probably drive more for Uber had knowing what the rates would become. I would probably save a little more. Cassandra Lewis, do you believe that Uber would keep drivers as independent contractors if they just charge a flat fee per day for the driver to drive for them and the driver gets full fares? There are several things Uber can do to keep the drivers as independent contractors, but they would have to give a certain amount of control. And that control is something I am not certain Uber is willing to do. So, um, yeah. So, well, we definitely exceeded an hour, folks. We definitely exceeded an hour. I kind of want to get to an hour and a half, which is in less than 5 minutes. But then I don't know. Do you think we've run the course, or is there more you want to talk about? Let's see here. My phone was 99% when I started doing this. It's now at 53%. 2 hours? I don't. God, you guys really want to talk for 2 hours? Sean says, I had a passenger tonight. We had a good conversation, Shed from Pittsburgh, like me, and as soon as I mentioned I caught word yins into my every talk, she just started hating on me and left me less than 5 stars. I don't know what yins is, to be perfectly honest. Um, so, yeah. Driver Steve said, I don't think it was that Peter, because this guy had a full head of hair. Okay. Mahler Bait said, weekly challenge, kill the phone. Kevin Joseph, do Uber Black drivers make bank? Well, let's put it this way. Uber Black drivers are much less likely to complain on YouTube. Francesco says, seriously, will Uber give up control or expenses? I don't know. I just do not know. I don't know what Uber's going to do about this, to be perfectly honest. I mean, they have said that they want to appeal it, and if they want to appeal it, that's what they will do, but that could make it end up being far worse for them than if they would just let things be. So, let's see here. Sean says, yins means y'all, like in Southern talk. Oh. Let's see here. Albert said, had a bad day in Li-Fi. Today in OCO. Yeah. Namely said, Uber is not accepting any new Uber Black drivers in San Francisco and Sacramento market. They are required a special license. Yes, they are. Because Black is, well, it's a basically a limo. So yeah, you need a special license to do Black. So if you want to ask about Black and Select and Lux, I would look up Ride with Peterson. He drives Uber Select, and he's very knowledgeable about that aspect of Uber. He makes pretty good money. There's a reason he's not complaining the way I am. Thomas Nelson said, cities with international airport, a major center, a diverse economy, you can prosper. Fix for Uber, increase rates to $1 per mile, 30 cents per minute, keeps rates lower than cabs. Dark Road Run said, hope Uberman is doing okay with the tornadoes out there. I actually have been in contact with Uberman. I was in contact with him like 7 hours ago, and he's fine. So at last I heard, he's doing good. So I said a little prayer for him and his family. I know he's not much of a praying man these days, but I worry about my friends when they're like stuck out in Tornado Valley. So let's see here. Sean said, what can get you deactivated from Lyft and or Uber? A lot of things. They list pretty clearly what can get you deactivated on their website, on the app, and people have made tons of videos explaining what can get you deactivated. So, you know what I'm thinking, guys? I'm thinking, as much as I hate the idea, I might need to invest in a selfie stick, because a selfie stick might not be a bad idea for live streams on this phone. So, Francisco said, oh yeah, how did you feel when you met Randy? That was a very fun day. In fact, I'm going to pace for this one because I like my story time pacing. So The funny thing is, like, years ago when I started doing this, people said, "Oh, look at Uberman and look at like rideshare guy. You should like reach out to them." And I'm actually kind of a shy person in real life, believe it or not. It's like, nah, I'm really not special. I mean, I'm just gonna make my videos. If they like me, they'll reach out to me. And it's interesting. On the day that I met Randy, I got a phone call from Harry Campbell from the Rideshare Guy blog, and I got that call from him, and we talked for like 30 minutes or so. And then I did like a live stream with Randy for an hour and hung out with him. I think I hung out with Randy for about 5 hours that day, and according to him, I have a place to stay if I'm ever in Oklahoma. So I guess we're officially friends now, and I thought that was so it was kind of cool. On that day, I kind of felt like I had made it. But then on a more personal level, I actually really liked Randy. He was very cool. It was actually awesome that we both like American Dad. I didn't think he liked American Dad. So that was fun. And also, here's the thing. Talking about YouTube is kind of interesting because even though people know what I do for a living, they're not really aware of what that entails. So when I know someone and can talk to someone who actually does it themselves, it's kind of a good feeling because it's like, I don't know, I guess it's kind of like people who serve in the military truly, relate to one another. I guess if you do YouTube, there's kind of an element of things that people don't understand that you can only truly communicate with other people who do things on YouTube. So, that's kind of what it is. But yeah, it's yeah, that was a fun day though. That was a very fun day. And that was before I found out I was diabetic. Nope. Mm. Self-control. So anyway, um, let's see here. Thomas Nelson said minimum fare of $10, a net of $7.50 for driver in a city with population of 500,000 on a bad day. You can expect north of 10 to 15 rides in 6 to 7 hours. The fee they charge should be capped at 15% of fare. Possibly. David Smith said, I had a passenger on Lyft show me what he paid, but it was higher than what the app showed. He paid $13.45, but on my app, he was charged $10.66 minus the Lyft fee. I made $7.99 the trip. Why is this? That's upfront pricing. That's upfront pricing in their terms of service, and I think this is what their new terms of service actually says, that they can charge whatever they want to the passenger, and they're just going to pay you the mile and minute fee, and then take 25%. Driver Steve says, I had a passenger who just hired a Lyft as a director. Just hired as a Lyft director. I told him that as a driver, I want to know where it's busy and where it's not busy. He said they are actually working on that. Okay, well, that's good to know. Thomas Nelson says, Lyft Premier pays 120% more than Uber X. This is true. Anonymous Aviator said, funny thing, riders are giving professionalism feedback to drivers, thinking they are giving them compliments. It sucks because in the app, it doesn't show what is. Yeah, and there's a lot of people who and this kind of happened with eBay for a long time where people were like, oh, I thought I was doing my due diligence, but I didn't realize that by giving 3 stars or giving 4 stars, I was saying they should be fired. A lot of people do not realize that. So, yeah, that's definitely a problem. Kevin Joseph, why did Uber lower the rates so low? People were used to high taxi rates and tipping. Well, my personal belief is this. I believe it's because of Lyft. When Uber started, they were just an Uber Black service. Then Lyft was the one who threw down the gauntlet and said, you can drive your regular car and we can have Lyft. And the rates can be this much. And Uber realized that they were onto something. So they launched Uber X to compete with that. And then Sidecar came in. Well, Uber wanted to have the space all to themselves because in Silicon Valley, you're not successful unless you're a monopoly. So Uber lowered the rates again and again. At one point, Sidecar went out of business and they admitted, we did not think we would have a competitor who would be willing to lower the rates so low. And they sold themselves to General Motors. At that point, in my opinion, I believe Travis Kalanick was like, I got Sidecar. They went under. Well, shoot. If we got them, we could get Lyft as well. But Lyft ended up being very resilient. And They lowered it and they lowered it. They lowered it to where they could not lower it anymore. And Lyft never went anywhere. And now it's been that way for so long. Now to raise the rates would cause problems, apparently. So that is why I believe the rates got so low. The rates got so low as they are. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see here. I'll just make one more comment on this, and then we're seriously gonna drop it because someone asked, why don't you like the certain YouTuber? He's nice and he gives good info. First of all, he's actually not nice. He's actually quite the jackass. Secondly, in terms of good info, ask yourself this. Aside from him showing you how much money he's making on Uber, does he actually show you how to make that money? Does he give you advice on how you can be making $2,000 a week? Does he give you an idea what his week is like? He is not helping you. He is not. I mean, granted, I will say I respect him because he has a go-getter attitude, and that counts for a lot. That counts for a lot, and you know what? If he was just doing that, if he was just saying, I can do this and you can do it too, that'd be fine. But the fact that he talks down to people who don't do things the way he does it, and the fact that he talks down, like he actually thinks he's better than you because he doesn't complain. Well, you know what? I'm sorry if not everyone has 70 hours a week to drive for Uber and Lyft. And I'm sorry if you showing me how much you're making, I don't consider to be helpful advice if you're not giving people advice on how they themselves can do that. And that's all. And that's the end I'm going to say about him. Guy's a jackass. He really is. And really, he should join the Dollar Shave Club. I mean, seriously, it's the Dollar Shave Club. Okay, that's just being mean. That's being unnecessarily mean. But you know, and you know what? He's got such a fragile little ego. I'm sure he's going to be making a video about this next morning because people will go tell him what I said, and now he's going to make a video complaining about me. Like, yeah, like I actually care. I unsubscribed to him a while ago, and I don't even know what he's doing, to be honest. And that's all we're going to say about it. Okay. So, anyway, let's see here. Linnell says, seems like Lyft pays more than Uber. Sometimes they do. I think they typically do simply because of the tips, to be perfectly honest. I think the tips gives them a little bit of an advantage, but otherwise they pay about the same. C4400 said, the feedback system is like beating a puppy for something he did earlier that day. If you can't learn from it, it's worthless. I agree. The feedback system needs to be way more transparent because especially when you know that you're getting less than 5 stars, there's very rarely a reason why you're getting less than 5 stars. And even when they select a reason, you sometimes don't know. Like I have been flagged for cleanliness, and yet if cleanliness was a problem with the car, why are the other 17 people not flagging me for that? It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, the feedback system is totally useless as far as I'm concerned. Into Solution says they really shouldn't charge the driver anything because they are getting paid already, but would they charge the passenger? No. They will put as much of the expenses on the driver as they possibly can. That is their goal. That is their plan. That is what they do. Nomley says, I tend to avoid low income area when my rating is low. Passengers discover they can get a free ride if they complain about the driver. Yes, that is another reason. Because, and here's, by the way, some of the things that I'm not going to say that sexual assault is not a problem with Uber and Lyft. It very clearly is. But I am very suspicious of it when they say, hey, your driver sexually assaulted me. And Uber's like, well, shoot, that's not good. What can we do? Oh, refund my ride. We'll call it even. Really? You got raped and they refund $13 and everything is good. Okay. Okay, whatever. Let's see here. Moose says, see, what's messed up with these rideshare apps, it's been a race to the bottom from the beginning. That to me sounds like Uber and Lyft are collectively a monopoly. They are and they aren't. Again, if Lyft innovated a little bit more, then maybe there wouldn't be a monopoly, but they don't. So effectively, whatever Uber says goes. Thomas says, a few things to consider. Uber manages relationships with drivers based on supply and demand. Other things that will determine how many rides you get sent to your device besides just location. Yeah. And Uber uses that data. And people have asked me before, like, I see people getting offered like $150 bonuses for driving an extra 30 trips that weekend. Why don't I get it? I drive all the time. Well, that's a problem. You drive all the time. If you are loyal to Uber and even to Lyft, in all fairness, you get squat. If you're not, if you do it periodically, like I do, you get nice little bonus offers to get on the road. That's just how it is. That's how they use your data. Oh, thanks, Sean. Thanks for the $2. I'm obviously a little behind. Okay, Al Saller says, Kevin, agree. Albert says, thanks for answering. Namely says, I love the ride-sharing professor. When are you doing something wrong, he will tell you straight up and help you. I like the ride-share professor, too. I know he gets a lot of flack because he relies on a lot of referrals, and he has always been very open about that. But he seems like a nice guy overall, and he's always been very generous to me. He's given me... He was one of the first of the major YouTubers to shout me out, and I have not been personally offended by him. And in regards to that beef with the simple driver and rideshare professor, by hanging out with Randy, I did find out a side to that story that most of you are not privy to. Now, I can't tell you what that is for privacy reasons, but let's just say that whole spat was a little bit more juvenile than it probably should have been. And that's all I'm going to say. And for the record, I have no issue against Calvin either. So, you know, I like them both. Let's see here. Driver C says, I can't drive 70 hours a week. I can barely do 40, especially in extremely uncomfortable car seats like in the Mazda 3. And, oh, good night, Al. I know you're probably already gone by the time I said that, but that's the other thing. You know what? If you are single and you have no family, you know what? In theory, you could drive 70 hours a week. And if you want to, that's fine. More power to you. I can't argue that. But, like a lot of us, we have wives. We have children. Heck, even without that, we have lives we want to live. If we don't have a girlfriend, maybe we would want to get one. And we would need a little bit of time to do that. When you're working 70 hours a week, not only do you not have time to do this, but you are exhausted and you can't do it forever. When I worked at Disneyland, there was a few months where I was working 60 hours a week. And you know what? The pay was good. I was getting not only time and a half, I was getting double time. But I was working 7 days a week, 60 hours a week. Like, I would get in at 11 a.m. I would leave at 10 p.m. My day would just be scooping ice cream, hearing people talk about how much sprinkles they want, and listening to the to that celebration parade that they did. And there was one day I actually passed out from exhaustion. And the doctor, I had to have a doctor order where the doctor, and I handed this to the Disney people, and the doctor had written, you need to give him 2 weeks off so he can recover, or he will die doing this. The body needs rest. If you are a video game developer, talk to people in the video game development industry. When they do 70-hour weeks for crunch time, they have problems with their sight. They get carpal tunnel. There are so many health problems that arise from working that many hours. And it's the same thing with rideshare. So here's the thing. If you want to work 70 hours for rideshare, you know what? I can't argue that. But the pay needs to be good enough where working 70 hours is not the only way to make a decent living doing this. You need to be able to work a decent number of hours and still make a living doing it. And that is why people got so pissed at the rates, and that's why they want to get the government involved. And that is why people who complain about this are not lazy. They're smart. It's because they know that they cannot do it. They know that they have families that they would not see if they tried to do it this way, and they know they would probably eventually die if they just do 70 hours a week. So there, that's my official response on the complaint that I've been getting, that if you work 60 to 70 hours a week, you can make it. Yes, you absolutely can. That has been proven. Heck, that was proven a long time ago by other YouTubers, by me. I knew that was a thing. But I would never, in good conscience, get on this channel and say, stop being lazy, work 70 hours a week. No. I worked 60 hours a week for 3 months, almost got me killed. Not going to recommend that to anyone else. And, okay. I bet you there's a lot of comments going on with that one, so let me see what's going on. Let's see here. Okay, Driver Steve said, passengers should be required to enter a reason for anything less than 5 stars. In all fairness, that is happening now. Chad Lorraine Rue said, I get around 25 an hour part-time job. Yeah, good night. Good night. Oh, good night, Liz. I know you're probably gone, but good night. It's like, oh, thanks for the $10, Sean. That comes in very handy. Thank you very much. Kevin Joseph, true, Uber charges a booking fee. Why must we give Uber 20 to 25% of our pay? I think 10 to 15% would be much more realistic. So, Into Solution says, I called Uber a couple days ago to ask them how many 1-star ratings I got and was told that they couldn't give me that information. Which, again, if you are an independent contractor, you should be privy to that information. Thomas Nelson says, I have a 4.88 with 16,000. Right, wow. Good for you, buddy. There is a way to ensure your rating stays high, but there's also a component about larger cities, more dynamic personalities. I'm in the South. People are a bit more earnest. Yeah, I agree. Let's see here. Joseph Smith. Kevin, Uber doesn't count actual online time for the pay per hour argument. They count driving time for pay per hour proof. Yes, I agree, and that's another thing that's been brought up a few times. Should Uber drivers be paid just for having the app on? And I'm going to go and say no. If we are to have the freedom to deny the trips we want to deny, then Uber should not have to pay us if we're not actually having a passenger while the app is on. Now, the second you accept a trip, then yes, then you should be paid. But if you're just cooling off in a Starbucks parking lot, not picking up a passenger, no, not really. Albert says, I drive 80. Well, enjoy doing it as long as you can. Vegan Tart said, I guess when autonomous cars are fully operational, Uber drivers will disappear back to the sheltered workshops and manufacturer. Yeah, that's not going to happen. In fact, I would actually argue, how many stories have you read about autonomous cars recently? I recall that they were supposed to be on the roads either by this year or next. Where are they? It's almost as if they've disappeared. It's almost as if they were unrealistic to make. So I don't think we have to worry about the driverless cars anytime soon. Let's see here. Namli said, Rideshare Professor is sometimes way too straightforward, but most of the time he will apologize if he mess up. We all recalled him calling out Randy as a sellout. I don't think that's what he did. The Rideshare Professor made an assumption about how much Uberman and the Simple Driver made for the Uber interviews, and he made a video saying that they are worth more than that and they should have charged more. And that was the root of the issue. And while I didn't find anything personally wrong with that, other people did. So, but anyway, let's see here. BH said, yeah, man, that's why I don't want to become a software engineer. Drivers, he said, I have 2 days off just to rest after a long week of going 12 hours a day. Yeah, you have to. When I was doing 12, 15-hour days over the weekend, I made good money, but then I had to rest. And also, I'd miss things to do on Saturday. I'd miss church. I mean, I wasn't dating anyone, so I honestly didn't feel like I was missing much sometimes. But, now that I'm with someone, and she doesn't work weekends, she wants to do stuff with me, and we're celebrating our anniversary on Saturday. So, and I couldn't celebrate that if I was still chasing the Saturday surge. So, you know, there's just, not everyone can do it, but anyway. Um, let's see here. Vegan tard. I would go mad working at Disneyland too. Too many tard. Well, they're not tards, but annual pass holders, of which I have to admit I am one. They are the most needy people in the world. Like, they go up and it's like, why can't I get 10% off the ice cream? I'm an annual pass holder. It's like, you don't get 10% off because it's a dessert. It's not a meal, which you agreed to when you signed up for the card, but whatever. Let's see here. Let's see here. Here. Biggerfoot, are you hot with the beanie hat? Well, I don't know. Am I? No, it's actually very cool in here, to be honest. Nominally, I can claim that I work 45 hours and make 2K per week, but expenses reduce that to 1.3K. Yep, that's it. Driver C, thank you. You're preaching to the choir. Well, people have asked me about these things, so like Joseph Smith says, beware of Intertech. I don't know who Intertech is. Dark Road Run said, any drivers with more than 10,000 rides should be given stock. I agree, they should. They are helping build the company. Let's see here. Let's see here. Dan T says, sometimes it makes it feel like if you cancel a ride, they make you wait longer for the next ping. Never thought about that, but that might be true. That might be true. Moose says, in Sacramento, Lyft rolled out new feature where you have to rate packs within 5 seconds or else it will be recorded as a 5-star. That's interesting because, and I'm actually, I guess I'm also making this video. Lyft sent me an email that said I now have up to a month to rate the passenger. And that after a month, if I do not rate it, then it will become a 5-star. My question is, well, what about the other way around? If the driver waits a month and doesn't rate me, do I automatically get a 5-star? I think that would be more fair. But anyway, Biggerfoot says, a lot of drivers talk about all these boosts and surges they get. I'm in St. Louis. We never get boosts and only surge when there's concerts. What's the deal? Well, I don't know. I don't live in St. Louis. I know some locations surge more than others. And boost is definitely offered at places that are considered more consistently busy. And also, boost isn't even offered to every driver in the area. There are tons of drivers in LA who do not get offered boost, even though it's very popular. Let's see here. David Smith says, I want to see a driverless car handle college students and club nights. Yeah, wouldn't I love to see that too? Kevin Joseph said, should the federal courts regulate Uber and Lyft on the driver rates? No. In fact, they can't. I don't think. Well, actually, that's a good question. If we are employees, then technically they have regulated the rates. We have to make minimum wage at the very least. So, in a way, I guess they've done that. Thomas Nelson says, I wouldn't worry too much unless you were in your first 100 rides and your rating is low. If you keep your ratings at 93%, 5 stars, 4%, 4 stars, and 1% of your rides 3, 2, 1 keeps you at 4.85. Yeah, that's true. Problem is, like, sometimes, especially when you're just starting out and you don't know what you're doing, you can get some really crazy people. So, let's see here. Joseph Smith says, Intertech is Uber's quality assurance here in my city. They will order a Eats run and see if you were professional or not. They're snitch. Oh, so they're secret shoppers. Yeah, got to be careful about that. Let's see here. Anomaly says, today my rating is 4.9. Well, good for you. All right, so, one more comment. Dennis the Menace. Yesterday, I made a trip to LAX. They charged right at $30, and I ended up getting only $15 after all the fees. I just keep getting disappointed with Uber. Yep. Join the club. Join the club. And Mohammed Abdi says, Uber cut the rates in Seattle 3 days after the city passed Uber Lyft rates increase. They didn't even notify the drivers. How does that work? I know that Seattle was like putting some laws to try to raise the rates, but hmm, that's interesting. So, guys, we've got 5 minutes, and then we can get to 2 hours. Kevin Joseph said, "What are your new rates?" I think now I'm making 83 cents a mile and 12 cents a minute. I mean, in all fairness, it is better, but not by a substantial. Animatic said, "Do you really need to make 107 a mile to turn a profit?" No, we need to make $1.75 to turn a profit. It's an X says, "Do you still drive regularly?" No, I'd love to, but no, it's just not worth it right now. Biggerfoot says, "Kevin, do you think after the CA decision on Uber, they will try to make us happy with a raise across the board?" I think Uber, if they don't want to appeal this, which it sounds like they do, will make some changes to keep us independent contractors. But right now, it's not about making us happy. It's about appeasing the government. That's a very, very different thing. So, um, let's see here. Kevin Joseph, does YouTube pay well? It does, and it has been paying well for me for a while, quite frankly. So much so that when people say, "Why don't you just quit Uber?" It's like I have. I technically have found another job. And every little bit of support helps, and it's not kosher to talk about how much you make on YouTube, but there are sites out there where if you can look it up and you can kind of get an idea of what I make, and I'm not doing too bad for myself, I have to admit. Um, Animatic says it's 67 cents a mile here. Well, that's unfortunately where it is a lot of places. Namely, just stick around for 5 more minutes because we're gonna be wrapping it up after 2 hours. I'm not gonna drag this out to three. Mantis B says, "I tell my customers that Uber's takes half or more, and nobody can believe it." No, they don't. They really don't believe it. They're like, "Why? Why would that be the case?" Thomas Nelson, "If your minimum is 4.8 in your market, it would be problematic, but you would have to be really bad below 4.6 for a long time over a month." Yeah. Driver Steve said, "Rates should be auto adjusted according to gas prices. Gas has gone up by a good 80 cents per gallon." Yeah, that's the other thing. Why don't they raise the rates to keep up with the gas? Of course, on the other hand, if they did that, they might also automatically lower the rates when the gas goes down because occasionally that happens. But yeah, there's so many things Uber should have been doing differently this whole time. Let's see here. If Kevin Joseph, if I got 1,000 views, would I get $100? No. No, no. If that was the case, I would be very rich right now. But if you got 1,000 views, it would be something. Um, if you guys watch the videos and don't use an ad blocker, I can make somewhere between 2 to 5 cents per view. So when you count that up with the thousands upon thousands of views I get, that should give you a starting point that on how much I make sometimes. So Linnell says go for 3. I'd love to, but my arm is really getting sore. But getting to 2 would be great. Getting to plus, yeah, my battery's at 34%. I don't think it would make it to 3. Biggerfoot, I would like to see the rates just go back to the old days. Yeah, I think a lot of people would. That's where it was best. Let's see here. Dante says if you want to exercise and get paid not very well, then do Uber Eats. I will actually be doing more Postmates specifically to get exercise because there's a lot of stairs you go up. And I will consider that part of the exercise program. In fact, I actually should, I'll probably do a little walk tonight because I don't think I did my walk today. So I'm going to go walk for 30 minutes after this is all said and done. So yeah, Dark Road Run. If you decide to call, I'd probably wait 30, 40 minutes after this live stream ends. Thomas Nelson, it's different in Charlotte. David Smith also depends on when you start driving. Let's see here. Pittsburgh Eggs. What if you skip ads? Do you still get paid per view? If you skip the ad, I do, but I get paid a lot less. So if you really want to help me out, just watch the ads.
or subscribe to YouTube Red, because YouTube Red is actually kind of a neat service. Um, not that I'm not getting paid to say this, but when you get YouTube Red, you also get a subscription to Google Music, and you get access to the YouTube Music app, so that if there's you want to listen to music on YouTube like without the pictures, you can do that. And everyone and we get paid every single time you watch a video when you use YouTube Red. Also, and I just discovered this, and I did not know this. YouTube has a new series that's exclusive to them called Cobra Kai, and it is the sequel to The Karate Kid with Ralph Macchio. And Ralph Macchio and that guy who played his rival in that movie and other characters from the first movie, they're in it, and it's a sequel to The Karate Kid Part 3. And it's like, I didn't know they had that. I just discovered that today, so I'm probably going to binge watch that relatively soon, because that caught me completely by surprise. And now that kind of makes sense why YouTube was sponsoring a one night event of The Karate Kid in theaters again, with the first episode of Cobra Kai playing afterwards. Because I was like, what's Cobra Kai? But I discovered it, and apparently it's a sequel to the Karate Kid trilogy. So, yeah, I thought that was really cool. Can only watch it if you are subscribed to YouTube Red. But again, if you subscribe to YouTube Red and then you watch my videos, I get paid and you don't see ads. So works out for everybody. Let's see here. Let's see here. Hi, Shafik Shander. Let's see here. Kevin Joseph says, I think Uber secretly owns Lyft. In a way, they do. In a way, they do. Because they, whenever they make a change, Lyft follows. So Francisco says, I got Google Play Music and it comes with YouTube Red. Yeah. The funny thing is, like, I signed up for Google Music to try it out. Got YouTube Red for free. Actually freaked me out when I noticed I had YouTube Red and didn't sign up for it. I had some very mixed feelings about them just giving me that when I didn't ask for it. But ironically, I kept the subscription not because I like Google Music, but because I like YouTube Red. Just funny how that worked out. Biggerfoot, I just got YouTube Red for the new Cobra Kai. It's awesome. And you know what? I'm keeping YouTube Red especially because I want to see Super Size Me 2 Holy Chicken. Now, I know that they've said that they've shelved the movie because of the Morgan Spurlock allegations. I am hoping that's not permanent, because Super Size Me is one of my favorite documentaries. I know, ironic, but I would really love to see Super Size Me 2. And it would be a shame that because Morgan Spurlock willingly came forward and admitted to doing some things that were not very nice, that that we can't see it. That would be a shame in my opinion. So, and if you haven't seen Super Size Me, I recommend it. Well, folks, we have reached the 2-hour mark. I have, I've caught up with the chat. Pittsburgh X, there's too much video music apps to keep up with. Yeah. But here's the thing. If you get the Google Music app, it's like you get a video and 2 music apps at the same time. So, just a thought. So I think this is a good place to end. Although if anyone wants to send any final super chats, it kind of seems like begging, and it probably because it is, but feel free to send it in the next 2 minutes before we end this. I can't believe how long this live stream went, and over 60 people, like, geez. Like, I really appreciate you guys. I was actually feeling kind of blue about the channel because I don't know if it was just because I got sick last week and then I got the diagnosis the week before. And, but I was kind of like, man, does anyone care about the channel anymore? And clearly that's not the case. You guys are still here and you're still chatting with me, and I love that. And I enjoy spending time with you. So thank you for doing that. And if anyone is watching this live stream after the fact and weren't part of the live stream, I thank you for watching all of that as well. And for those of you who are new here, who, give it a thumbs up, comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. And if you enjoy the videos I make, consider becoming a Patreon member for as little $1 a month. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one. And yeah, thumbs up Cobra Kai. Because that's actually a pretty good series. Well, nice to have you. Driver Steve, and don't worry, Joseph Smith. You created one of the worst religions of all time, so your legacy is set in stone. Have a good night, everyone.